Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Baseball Insiders Betting Edition. It is myself and Peter Dewey. This week, we are going to be talking about the Astros and Orioles series, the surprising AL East leading, actually, I think just American League in general leading Baltimore Orioles taking on the Houston Astros, who are currently in a wild card spot. But before we get into Astros Orioles, Peter, I do need to mention it. The Yankees are dead and the Blue Jays are hot. How does that make you feel?
Not great. I mean, the Yankees have been dead. I've been saying since before the trade deadline, they're dead. Hopefully, this is a wake up call for the organization, man. That next year they gotta do something different than running back this same team again. Can't do it again.
What a shame. What a shame. MLB fans, have you signed up for DraftKings yet? Because if you're a new user, you can receive $150 in bonus bets instantly after following just 3 steps. Number 1, create an account. Number 2, make a deposit. And the number 3, wager $5 on any sport. Whether your first wager wins or loses, you'll still receive $150 in bonus bets, which is important because I'm hot and cold with my bets. I'll get into that in a second. All you have to do is use the code Baseball Insider when you sign up. That is Baseball Insider, all one word. The best part is using our code Baseball Insider, all one word, not only gets you the bonus, but it also helps support the podcast. If you're considering signing up for DraftKings, definitely use our code Baseball Insider to maximize your first bets. This offer is available for new customers who are 21 plus and physically present in legal gambling states. Please remember to always gamble responsibly. Check the episode description for the full terms of the offer. We also have the new Baseball Insiders Discord channel, which you can join. We're building a nice little community on Discord. All you got to do is become a member on YouTube. I think it costs 99 cents. And then you will have the link to join will be sent to you. Lots of great stuff going on in the Discord, including Robert Murray's rumor mill. He had a lot of rumors going around the trade deadline. It was awesome to follow along with him there. Also, we have an MLB bets channel. A few of us giving out some best bets that we have on that channel as well. Speaking of Robert and Adam, they'll be back Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. But for today, let's talk Astros. Let's talk Orioles. Actually, really quick before we do, Peter, do you know how you did on the last episode? I know I went 0-2. There was 3 games. It was the Yankees against the Rays. The first game, my bet was pushed because Domingo Germán was supposed to start. He ended up playing in the game, pitching 5 innings anyways, but he didn't start. I had a strikeout prop on him, so that because he didn't start, that was voided. But then I lost I believe the other 2 bets for that series. Peter, how'd you do for Rays Yankees?
Ian, I don't have my broom with me, but I had a little
Oh,
sweep
ooh,
last week.
ooh, ooh,
So
ooh.
yeah, very very nice. Had the Rays in game 1, Carlos Rodon under strikeouts in game 2, and then the over in game 3. Shane McClanahan got rocked in game 3. It was not exactly how I thought it was going to go, but 7-2 Yankees win, pushed it over. So very good week for the boy. Very good week.
There you go. I swept the time before that when it was Dodgers Blue Jays. You swept Yankees Rays. So we got back-to-back sweeps on the show. Yeah, like I said, my bet for the first game got voided because Domingo Germán ended up not starting. Still don't fully know what's going on there, especially Domingo Germán in general, who was apparently drunk in the locker room at one point. Game 2, I had Yankees money line, Rays 1, and then game 3, I had Rays money line and Yankees 1. So 0-2 for me. 3-0 for you, so that's still a 3-2 week. That's a winning week for the show. Let's talk Orioles. Let's talk Astros. It is a 3-game set taking place in Baltimore. Peter, start us off. Tell us about the Astros.
Yeah, Houston defending World Series champs, but second in the AL West right now, 3 games out behind the Texas Rangers going into this series. But they got a little reinforcement at the trade deadline. They brought back Justin Verlander in a trade with the Mets. So I still think this Houston team is one of the best teams in the American League, probably one of the best teams in baseball. Odds makers do as well. They're 5th in the odds to win the World Series, and we'll get into the odds for both of these teams a little bit later. But I also wanted to shout out Framber Valdez, who's starting game 1, pitched a no-hitter his last time out against the Cleveland Guardians, only threw 93 pitches to get it done.
Wow.
So there's a little momentum here for the Astros. I think the acquisition of Verlander kind of puts them in a good spot in terms of the rotation injuries they've had this year, because Luis Garcia, Lance McCullers, Jose Urquidy have all dealt with injuries. Garcia's done for the year. He had Tommy John. So Adding a guy like Verlander, who obviously has had a ton of success in that Astros uniform, they basically got a steal. They quote unquote, they basically re-signed Justin Verlander after letting him walk in free agency, but they got him for way less because the Mets are paying like half of his contract. So kind of a shrewd move by the Astros to do it that way, but I expect them to contend once again this year.
Yeah, what a move by the Astros there, getting Verlander back. In terms of the Orioles, second best record in Major League Baseball behind only the Atlanta Braves, so best record in the American League. Who would have guessed that? Not I. They have won 4 straight, 8 of their last 10 games. They acquired Jack Flaherty at the deadline to help them hopefully go on a little bit of a playoff push here. But I will say I am not the biggest believer in the Baltimore Orioles. I don't want to use the fraud word, the F word fraud. But I do think we're going to see some regression from the Orioles because they are close to the top, if not leading, in 2 key stats that I think indicate a little bit of luck on their side. Number one, and this is the main one I wanted to talk about, they lead Major League Baseball in close game win percentage. They are winning 66.7% of their one-run games. So 2/3 of the time, it's a one-run game. The Orioles are on the right side of that. Now, you could probably make the argument that you have to be good to win those one-run games. Maybe there's kind of like some kind of skill to winning one-run games, but over a large game sample size, usually it might not be 50%. Obviously, if you're a good team, you're going to have a little bit of a higher than a 50% win percentage with those one-run games, but 66.7% is an insane number of those one-run games to go in your favor. The most in Major League Baseball by a pretty wide margin. It's 66.7% for the Orioles winning close games, which is one-run games. Miami second at 61.4%. So over 5% more than the next best team when it comes to one-run games. So can they keep that up? I personally do not think so. Also, the Orioles are very good and not leaving runners in scoring position. This is what I hate about my Blue Jays and why every single Blue Jays game I watch, I want to pull my hair out because the Blue Jays 29th in Major League Baseball and leaving runners in scoring position per game. Orioles are 3rd. So only the Yankees and the Brewers are better at not leaving runners in scoring position. So they drive home the runners when they get in scoring position and they happen to win close games. Are those 2 stats sustainable throughout an entire MLB season and into the playoffs? I would argue no. By the way, I do have to note, yes, the Yankees do lead Major League Baseball in not leaving runners in scoring position, and they still stink.
It's because they never get runners in scoring position. Terrible.
Hate to see it.
I will say, and I do agree with you. I think that it is tough to ask, especially from a young team, to keep all that up. But they've played 112 games now. They're 70-42. So we're nearly almost 3/4 of the way through the season. They've kind of kept this up. So hats off to them, especially with all these young guys that they've kind of been able to hold serve on these kind of numbers, because it's really not easy, like you said, over a 162 game season to keep that kind of a pace.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to shout out the Dodgers. I know we're not talking about the Dodgers, but really quick, Dodgers last in Major League Baseball on leaving runners in scoring position, 3.78 per game. They get better at that. The Dodgers might become close to unbeatable down the final stretch of the season. So if you're looking for a futures bet, it might be the Dodgers. I think it's the Dodgers and the Braves are the two best teams in Major League Baseball by a pretty wide margin. Let's talk futures odds here. World Series, the Astros 9-1. The defending champions still 9-1 to go back-to-back. They're still not a lock to make the playoffs, though. Even though their odds are -500 to make the MLB postseason, they only have, I think, a half a game lead on the Jays, who are in the final wild card spot. And then I think the Mariners, I think, are 4 games out of the wild card. So the Astros got to keep it up. They're not in the postseason already. World Series odds for the Orioles, they're at 11-1. Their odds obviously skyrocketing over the past couple months since they've taken over the lead in the AL East. As I mentioned, Astros -500 to make the playoffs. Orioles are basically locks, -10,000. You'd have to bet $10,000 on the Orioles to make the playoffs to profit $100. Division, Astros sitting behind the Rangers in the AL West. They are now plus money to win that division, +135. While the Orioles are starting to take command of the AL East, -175. Still not a lock to win the division, Rays still alive, Blue Jays still alive. I think at this point, I think we can count out the Red Sox and the Yankees for winning the AL East. But Orioles have taken command of it a little bit, minus 175 to win the American League East. All right, let's talk game-by-game predictions here. It is a 3-game series. We do have the odds for today's game, Tuesday's game, and Wednesday's game. Thursday's game, obviously, we do not have the odds too far in the future, but we do have the projected pitching matchup for Thursday's game. So we can assume what the odds are probably going to be for that one. But let's start off with Tuesday night's game. It is Framber Valdez against Grayson Rodriguez. Astros, short favorites here, minus 130. Orioles coming in at plus 115 underdogs. And the total for the game is set at 8. Peter, what way are you looking for the first game?
Yeah, I love Houston in this game with Valdez on the mound. Obviously coming off that no-hitter, but all season long he's been terrific. He's got a 3.07 ERA, a 3.11 FIP. And his worst stretch of the year was probably July. He had a 7.29 ERA in 4 starts that month. And then he comes out in his first start of August and throws a no-hitter. So not too concerned about him going through a little bit of a rough patch there. And the Orioles have been a solid offense this year, but they're middle of the pack against lefties, 13th on the season in OPS. But I think the bigger thing here is to fade Grayson Rodriguez. I know he's one of their top pitching prospects. But you look at his season-long numbers, he got a 6.09 ERA, a 1.50 WHIP, which is crazy. He's averaging 1.5 runners on pace per inning. So that's really concerning, especially against a veteran Astros team. And he has a 3.57 ERA of his last 4 starts. Has kind of looked better since he got called back up, but I'm just not willing to completely commit to that. His best start over that stretch was against the Yankees. Other than that, he has not cleared 5 2/3 innings in any of those outings. So you're still relying on the bullpen to get a ton of outs. His bullpen has been good, but I just think the starting pitching advantage here, I'm taking Valdez every single time as a slight favorite, even on the road.
Yeah, I like that bet. I could have done the same thing, and basically I kind of do have a very similar bet, but I'm going to make one small twist, dude. I'm just going to stick to the first 5 innings. I'll take Astros first 5-inning money line because the biggest strength of the Orioles, and this is something I'm going to mostly try to avoid for the most part throughout the series, is avoiding the Orioles bullpen. So I'll be doing that. They are 4th in bullpen ERA over the last 30 days at 2.81. Astros 17th in bullpen ERA at 4.44 over the last 30 days. So huge bullpen advantage for the Orioles. So I will avoid that in this game, or at least try to avoid it. And like you said, Grayson Rodriguez, this is the guy that we kind of want to target to fade this in this game. Not only are his overall numbers pretty bad, but his numbers specifically on the road at home have been much worse than his numbers on the road. 7.36 ERA at home, 1.879 WHIP. So Peter, he brought up his overall WHIP, 1.5. It's 1.879 at home this season. I don't know why, but he absolutely stinks at home. So I will just target the Astros specifically in the first 5 innings. You're only giving up a nickel, minus 135 instead of minus 130 for the full game. I will give up that nickel so then I can avoid the Orioles' very good bullpen and the Astros bullpen, which is really one of their weak parts, kind of been average at best all season. So I will take Astros first 5-inning money line for game 1 tonight. So we're kind of on the same side.
Yeah. Fading Rodriguez. I think that's when you look at this matchup, this game, that's just kind of the most obvious way to go. And it's also hard with young pitchers to trust them consecutive starts. Like he had a decent start against Tampa Bay and a decent start against the Dodgers, really good start against the Yankees. But it's like, how much longer is he going to hold up like that when you look at his full body of work this season and it hasn't been good?
Yes, absolutely. Let's move on to game 2. It is Wednesday night. It's Christian Javier for the Astros. It is Jack Flaherty, the new acquisition for the Orioles, making his second start with his new team. This time the Orioles are favored in this one, minus 120. The Astros coming in an even plus 100 underdog, so almost a pick 'em. We'll see where the odds settle by the time opening pitch happens tomorrow night. But as of right now, Orioles very slight favorites with the total all the way up at 9.5 for this one. Peter, what way are you going for game 2?
Yeah, so I think this is kind of the opposite of game 1. I'm taking the O's to win this one, and it's because of the starting pitching again. I'm going to fade Christian Javier here. You look at Javier's stats as of late, he's got a 6.66 ERA since the start of July, a 6.24 ERA and 5.41 FIP since the start of June. He's allowed at least 3 runs in 6 of his last 7 starts. And I debated taking the over in this matchup, Ian, but I'm a little worried about with how good the Baltimore bullpen has been, banking on runs considering the total's up at 9.5. And I think Flaherty could be kind of turning a corner here. He pitched 6 innings of 1-run ball in his debut for the O's. He's got a 2.78 ERA over his last 6 starts, which goes back to July 1st. And you already mentioned it, but the O's bullpen 3.55 ERA on the season. It's number 3 in baseball. So I'm going to take the O's to win this game. I don't think there's a sweep on either side. I think this is going to be a pretty even series. I wouldn't be surprised if the first 2 are split. As you look at Javier over his basically the last 2 months, been super inconsistent. The thing that was big for him last year, he had a high strikeout rate. And he still is striking out guys, but he's given up a lot more hits. Guys are hitting a much higher batting average on balls in play against him. So I think it's just really tough to trust him against a Baltimore lineup that, like I mentioned, they middle of the pack against lefties, but overall has been really solid offense this season. So I'm going to fade the Astros here, take the O's to win.
You mentioned that you were considering taking the over. Since you're going to go Orioles here, I will be the one that will take the over here in this spot. Now, I did consider first 5 inning over just because of the Orioles bullpen, which we keep talking about. But I'm not sold on the Astros bullpen. So, yeah, I think if you're going money line, if you want to take the Astros, I think stick to first 5 innings. But if you're talking the total and you're talking the over, I think it maybe the bullpens kind of wash each other out when you look at the full game. So I'm just going to stick with full game over. Is a pretty high number of 9.5 here. Javier, not good on the road this season. 5.29 ERA on the road. Whereas the Astros offense has been pretty solid lately, 10th in OPS over the last 30 days. And also I'm hoping the stat that I brought up earlier with the Orioles of not leaving runners in scoring position, that should lend well to the over as well. Third and fewest runners left in scoring position per game at 3.17. So if they drive those runners home, that will be huge for the over bet. And Jack Flaherty has had a few blow-up games as well. He's a little bit of a roller coaster type pitcher. He allowed 6 earned runs to the Nationals, 6 earned runs to the Giants, 10 earned runs to the Angels this season. A few games where he allowed 4 earned runs, including the Cubs a few weeks ago. So yeah, Jack Flaherty overall, his numbers are pretty solid, but he is susceptible to kind of having a blow-up game every now and then. So if that does happen, obviously that would be huge for the over as well. So pretty high number here, but it doesn't scare me way too much. I will go with the over 9.5 in game 2. And then finally, the series finale is Thursday afternoon, a matinee game. Once again, we do not have the odds for this game, but it is Brown against Kremer. Hunter Brown against Dean Kremer. Which way are you going for this one based on the pitching matchup? And I mean, I'm going to guess the total is going to be 8.5, 9-ish. And I'm going to guess the Astros are going to be slight favorites in this one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. If the total is at 8.5 or 9, I love the over. That's going to be my best bet in this game. Hunter Brown, who I feel like we've talked about on the show a lot. We've just gotten a lot of Astros games where he's been pitching. Having a good season, but you look at his last 8 starts and maybe the full major league season kind of catching up to him. This is his first full year in the bigs. 5.36 ERA, 4.89 FIP, and opponents are hitting 290 against him over that 8-start stretch, and he's allowed at least 2 earned runs in 7 of those 8 games. And he's taken on Dean Kremer, who 4.61 ERA on the season, 4.88 FIP. 4 of his last 6 starts, the O's have combined for 9 or more runs, which is a huge plus for their offense. Their offense has been great, but Kremer's also helped aid that along. And I think both these offenses really playing well over these last 15 days. Houston is 9th in OPS, Baltimore is 11th, and they're both tied for 10th in runs scored over the last 15 days. So I think the offenses win out in this game. We got some good pitching, some good pitchers in game 1, and then we got a good pitcher in Valdez in game 1. I think a good pitcher in Flaherty in game 2. I think this one is one where we kind of see both guys get knocked around. I do think Brown has, if I was going to pick a side, I might go Astros because I think Brown has been the better pitcher overall this season, but recently he has not looked good. So I like the over here. I think we see a high scoring game.
So you're on the over. You were just talking about Hunter Brown. That actually reminded me of something I meant to bring up at the start of the episode here. So just a little to not get too sidetracked here, but is the Orioles suspending broadcaster Kevin Brown going to affect him in this series?
That was crazy, man. I saw that. I don't understand. I saw the video and they're like, this is what we thought from Awful Announcing. They're like, this is what we believe was the reason he got suspended. And I'm like sitting there watching, I'm waiting for him to like say something insane. And I was like, no, that was a great intro. I was like, well, what did he do wrong? So I don't know how it's John Angelos, right? Is the Orioles owner, I believe.
I don't know.
I believe that's who it is. I don't understand this, like this censorship thing they're trying to do when they like intentionally. Peter Angelos, that they like decided to be like the worst team in baseball for like 6 years. And now they're like mad that people are like, yeah, well, they were really bad for 6 years, but now they're really good. It's like, I mean, that's the whole point. Like they completely flipped around. So it's very weird move by the organization for sure.
Yeah, for those who don't know, their broadcaster got suspended because I guess the clip that was going around, he literally was just talking about how bad the record has been against the Rays over the past number of years. And when I saw the clip before I watched it, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Because there have been some bad blunders by broadcasters over the past number of years. And I was listening and didn't hear anything. And it wasn't, I mean, they had a graphic for it. So it wasn't like he was just riffing and just started to trash on the Orioles. They had a graphic. So does the director get suspended? The producers, whoever made the graphic? It's a very, very weird situation for sure. But I digress. You just saying Hunter Brown reminded me of him because it's Kevin Brown, another Brown.
I believe so.
My pick for the final game, I'm going back with the same pick I made for the first game, and that is Astros first 5 money line. Once again, I'm going to avoid the Orioles bullpen here in this one. I'll back the Astros in the first 5 innings. I'm just going to stick to my take that I think regression is going to come for the Orioles. Are they a good team? Yes. Are they a playoff team? Yes. I don't think they're as good as their record indicates, and I think a big reason because of that is because they have the record is they've been able to win so many close games. Hunter Brown, 3.65 ERA on the road as opposed to a 4.66 ERA at home. Dean Kremer, I know I like to refer to him as Kremer just because I'm a big Seinfeld guy, but 5.35 ERA at home, 3.7 ERA on the road. So when you look at road and away splits, pretty significant advantage here when you look at the Astros starting pitcher. So I will stick with the Astros. I'm going to fade the Orioles, I think, not only in this series, but I think for the rest of the season, just because I think the betting odds are now starting to overvalue them a little bit. So I will take the Astros first 5 money line. So game 1, I'm on Astros first 5 inning money line. Game 2, I'm on the full game over 9.5. And then game 3, back on the Astros first 5 money line. Peter, you're on the Astros full game money line game 1. You're on the Orioles full game money line game 2. And then you are on the full game over in game 3 with the assumption that the total will be somewhere between 8.5 and 9.5.
Yes, sir.
So there you go. That is our show. Once again, sign up for DraftKings using promo code Baseball Insider. Just place a $5 bet on any sport, and you can tail or fade our picks. And it doesn't matter because if the wager wins or loses, you'll still receive $150 in bonus bets. Go ahead and join our Discord. Become a member on the YouTube channel. You get a link sent to the Discord channel. It's a great community in there. So go ahead and join that. And of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Adam and Robert will be back live 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday. So be sure to tune in for that. Peter, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I actually got a hypothetical for you. I got one.
All right.
So if you could choose between these two teams, Orioles and Astros,
yep,
or the rest of the American League to win the American League, which side are you taking?
And when you say win the American League, you mean like win the
go to the
represent the American League in the World Series,
yes,
not just regular season.
Yes.
Either these two teams or the rest of the American League. I think I would. It has to be these two teams because who else realistically has a shot in the American League? The Rays, Jays. I'm not picking anyone. Oh, Texas, of course. Yeah, but
I don't know if Texas really does either, but I feel like you can't.
They've been good this year.
They're going to win. I wouldn't say they're going to win the division, but they're going to have a good shot to win the division. So I'll take
Astros and Orioles against the field. Yes. Because just completely throw away the AL Central because whoever wins that, like the Twins are just going to lose in the first round. Jays, They're a Toronto team. They'll blow it. They'll blow it in the playoffs again. Rays. I don't really trust the Rays. I think the Rangers are really the only realistic other choice.
Yeah, the reason I say it is because the way I think it works out is if Baltimore finishes with the best record and the Astros end up with the 2 or the 3 in the wild card, they can end up playing in the DS. So that was why I was saying, because you're kind of really putting in, but obviously that could change over these next 2 months, but kind of put all your eggs into whoever wins that series kind of goes. But I could see that too. I think Houston is still the team to beat in the AL.
Yeah, you gotta like them just based on their experience with Verlander back. This is very similar to the team that won the World Series last year, so it's hard to count them out.
Exactly.
All right, and with that, thank you all so much for watching. Follow me on Twitter at IanMacBets, IAINMAC Bets, and then follow Peter at Peter Dewey2. Thank you all so much for watching. Best of luck with your bets this week, and we'll talk to you next time.